Hi, I'm Jo Hand. I'm co-founder at Giki, and today we're going to run through what you guys can do as Chief Greenies. So to start with, I just wanted to give you a bit of background on Giki. We're a social enterprise and our aim is to help people live more sustainably. And I'm going to talk today about Giki Zero Pro, which is all about engaging your colleagues and employees across an organization to understand and reduce their carbon footprints together. And it's a really good way to learn more, build knowledge across the organization. And there's lots of great data as well that comes out in terms of positive impacts. So this really encapsulates the three parts of the program. The first part is your own understanding around your own personal carbon footprint, understanding how it shapes up and finding ways to reduce it. The second part, which sits in the middle here of this slide, is all about taking action together. So within the organization version of Giki Zero, you can see all of your achievements together and what's trending and how the footprint of all of you combined shapes up. And it's a really good way to work together to cut carbon together. And then the third part, which is particularly relevant for you guys as Chief Greenies, is the toolkit that we provide on an ongoing basis to help you with engagement and give you lots of fun facts and images and text and content that you can share and tailor to fit with your culture and your organization and your particular team to motivate your colleagues to get involved. And we do a monthly call, which you're also all most welcome to join. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on why this is so important. So many of you will have seen a graph like this before. It shows carbon emissions and how they've gone up since the Industrial Revolution, where we are today and where we need to get to by 2030. So, and then net zero as soon afterwards as possible, definitely by 2050. Now, this means that we need to halve global emissions in the next 10 years. And clearly, businesses, policy, both national and international governments are going to play an absolutely crucial role in this. But we as individuals are also really important because about 3/4 of global greenhouse gas emissions actually come from households. So this is what that same story looks like, but from an individual perspective. In the UK, for example, our footprint's around 9 tonnes per person per year. And typically, the largest parts of that are home, what we eat and how we get about. But this pie chart would look different for all of us. And we need to get to about 2.5 tonnes per person across the world in the next 10 years to have a good chance of staying below that 1.5 degree temperature rise, which the scientists say is crucial for avoiding some of the worst effects of climate change. So there's a lot to do, but there is also a huge amount of different things that we can do within our own lifestyles, and doing that together can be a much more motivating way to do it. I just wanted to give you a bit of background of some of the organisations and individuals that we work with. Behind Giki Zero is a really, really detailed science-based carbon calculator, and we work with lots of experts across the field really to help us constantly improve and develop what we're doing and make it as meaningful and as useful to everybody as it possibly can be. You can always ask us any questions via our little question mark on Giki Zero, which I'll show you shortly as well. And this really just summarises what we will provide you as part of the toolkit as Chief Greenies. We have monthly campaigns that run in Giki Zero. We also do our regular monthly Chief Greenie calls, which take place on a Thursday lunchtime, second Thursday of each month at the moment. Lots of activation ideas and competition suggestions as well. So it'd be great if you join those calls. They're really designed to give you all the information that you need to work with your colleagues to cut carbon together. So I just wanted to detail a little bit about what you guys as Chief Greenies do to give you a more specific idea of it. And it very much varies. People do it differently depending on the organisation, the culture of the organisation, but also on your own individual personality and way of doing things. So, but the main aim really is to lead your team, to motivate them and make people feel empowered and positive about being able to make changes in our lives to live more sustainably. And these are just some of the things that can be really useful to be a good Chief Greenie, or to mobilise people as effectively as possible. And persistence, I think, is probably one of the most important ones. We have lots of different priorities in life, and just trying to keep this at times throughout the year, not all the time, but when you decide, right, we're going to have a push, trying to get people to bring it up their priority list is really important. And these are just some of the ways that different people have used to mobilize colleagues. And again, this is very much dependent on your personality and how you like to do things. There are lots of different ways to get people motivated. So I think it's just finding out what's best for you, whether it's the data that you want to share or the leaderboard screenshots of the achievements so far, or how your team's doing on the leaderboards. That can be really effective. Or the most popular steps. The least popular steps, if somebody wants to start their own trend, or organising little get-togethers so people can share some tips and some of their experiences as well can be really effective. So when you or your colleagues first sign up to Giki Zero, we'll ask a few very simple questions to enable us to give you a Giki score and also an estimate of your carbon footprint. So your score will show up here on your progress page, and your footprint as well. And we show this against your country average, the global average, which is about 5 tonnes per person per year, and that all-important target of where we need to get to by 2030 to have a good chance of keeping temperature rise below 1.5 degrees. And you can see the full breakdown in terms of lifestyle areas, and then dig deeper if you want to see how each of these lifestyle areas shape up here by clicking onto any of these. You can then also get much more detailed in terms of your footprints by clicking on your footprints section. And here we have around 10,000 different variables behind this science-based calculator. But we've aimed to make it as easy to use as possible, and you can put in as much or as little information as you want. So we cover all the key areas of our lifestyle that we have direct control over. So your home, what we eat, transport, but also goods and services, even your bank account and your savings. And we've even carbon footprinted every breed of dog. You can find that here in pet food. And for each of the footprints, you can go in and get really detailed. For example, in your electricity footprint, you could go and put your meter readings, or you can also make an estimate effectively. So in diet here, you could put in every type of food you eat. Just scroll down to the bottom of this page and there's a link there to do that. Or you can say, okay, this is the type of diet I have, let's say mainly veggie. And then there are also a few selections that you can make here. For example, locally grown. Let's say this person does eat a locally grown diet, and let's save that. And then any change to your footprint will be reflected, nearly a ton here of savings, and some confetti as well to make everybody feel better. I always like the confetti. The next key area is the planner. And this is all about taking action, choosing steps that are right for you and your lifestyle and your budget that will help reduce your carbon footprint. So this is a really good one. Switch to renewable electricity, for example. And on each of the steps, you can actually click on the little card here and get much more detail. So you can get tips and benefits and some helpful links as well to help you decide how best to tackle and complete a step. And then you can also filter here in terms of impact or quick wins. So if you want to have a big impact step, let's take a look at what comes up here. If you just click on that, these are all possible options. Or you might think, well, no, they're not quite right for me. Scroll down, look at what's trending across Giki Zero. Or you can actually then get into each of those particular lifestyle areas. So your home, for example, here are some ideas there in terms of things that you can do at home. So that's the individual version of Giki Zero, which you and all your colleagues will have access to. Now we're going to go and have a look at the Teams version, so the organisation area. So you click on your green Teams button, which will take you into your Teams page. And here you'll be able to see all of the teams that you're part of. So let's click on the green company here. And what we'll see here is everything that you're achieving together. And I think this can be a really good way to motivate each other. Sometimes it can feel a bit lonely on your own, taking action around climate change and reducing your carbon footprint, but seeing all of the carbon reductions that you're doing together across the team or across the organization can be really motivating. And you can also toggle through here from trying, which is the steps committed to, and then if you toggle through to done, that will show the steps that have actually been completed. And it's always good to remind people to tick off the steps that they've completed to get a little boost to the score and to register that as a carbon, water, land or single-use plastic saving. What you can also see here is the average footprint across the organisation, and again that full breakdown in terms of how that shapes up within the different lifestyle areas. And then if we look at the trends page, this is a really good place to see what colleagues are up to and to get some motivation actually and inspiration from people that you're working with. So for example, we can also see what the most popular steps are as well, and the least popular in case anybody wants to start their own trend, and then the leaderboard. So this is a fun and motivating bit for some healthy, sustainable competition, I think. So you can see how each of the individual teams are doing, and then you can also dig into your own team and actually see how everybody within that team is doing. And that can be a really good way to encourage each other and maybe share some tips and ideas. And we definitely find that people really like sharing suggestions on how they managed to complete a step. So, you know, I changed to a renewable electricity provider. I used this one. I found they were really good. I think that's something that people really like to share. And another thing is asking each other advice as well. That can be a good one. So maybe setting up a little chat group that you can share ideas with each other. That can work really well. So what I've shown you so far is what all of your colleagues will be able to see. And what we're going to have a look at now is the Chief Greenie admin area. So you can get into that by clicking on your Green Teams button again, and then just click on this little pencil here to get into whichever area that you want to get into. So if we dig in there, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of what's in each of these. So the members, this is where you will be able to see everybody who's in the organisation. And then if you want to invite somebody, you can just click on there. You can just pop in their email. I'm going to just put in a dummy email. And then put a comma in, but with the numbers that you're working with, it's going to be best just to do a simple spreadsheet upload into here. And then we're going to, let's put this person in marketing, and then you simply review that. And then if you want them to be an admin, then you would just tick this, which would mean they'd have the same admin rights as you to visit at this level. Send invitations, and then we'll see in invitations that this person has been invited to join. And then when they accept the invitation, that will then show them up on this members tab here. The Teams tab is where we create the teams. Simply click here, input team name, Team Superman, review, and create that team. And then there it is. If you don't like the name, simply delete. Let's get rid of that one. Team Superman, just to make sure we don't delete anything by mistake. And then the reports here is where you can get all of the really interesting data. So a few headline data points here in terms of score and how that changes over different periods of time, number of members, number of teams. And then we can also see footprints, again, across those different areas, again, different timelines, how that changes. and then commitment, so number of steps taken, but also you can see how much carbon, water, land or single-use plastic have been saved as a result, and again change the time range. And then achievement, so this is steps completed, the same principle. And each of these, you can download the data here on this download data button, and then there are further CSV files here as well, which can be used for lots of really interesting information. So what I will do is show you one last bit, which is going to be your friend throughout this process. This question mark here is the best place to go if you have any queries. So you can click on it and it will show you an article that's relevant to a particular page that you're on. If you haven't got what you need there, then you can do a quick search, type in anything that you're looking for, and articles relevant will pop up. But you might find that there's something more specific you want. And if you just click the ask button here, then you can ping us an email and that will go straight to our support team, who will come back to you quickly. And please do use that to share any questions, feedback, and we're always here to help. And we think that if there's anything that comes up that you'd like to share with us, please do that. And good luck with the pilot. Thank you.